Do high pressure situations leave you feeling anxious and underperforming? What if you could thrive under pressure and deliver your best performance every single time? In today's lesson, we are talking about high stakes performance, techniques for thriving under pressure, and what it takes to thrive in high stakes. And we are taking our lessons in the 10 by 10 by 10, which is 10 lessons in 10 days of in about 10 minutes. And we are highlighting lessons from the Olympic Games, whether you're watching it during the Olympics or well after. There is a lot that we can learn from these Olympic athletes and how you can think and act like an Olympian in your particular industry or any area of your life. So one of my highlights that I want to talk about, this was like a favorite of mine, was Noah Lyles winning the gold medal. Now, if you know anything about Noah, he is a show off. He is a trash talk. He's very confident. He is the showman of track, a very big personality. And it's hate it or love it, right? But he is who he is. And during those games, he did not win his first heat. He did not win in the semi, but he showed out in the final. And he said that he did underestimate his competitors in one of them. And so people are like, well, did you put that, he likes to thrive under pressure. And, some people's like, yeah, I do better under pressure. But when it's pressure that you technically did not create, or when you came in, like when it's the pressure that came, you know what I'm trying to say. There's one thing to if you cause the pressure, right? But the pressure to come when you didn't expect it, that's a different level of that. So I'm pretty sure there are some things that he had to go discuss mentally with himself and with his coach to get himself back into the game, and it won him the third, I mean not third place, the third race really, which was the gold medal in the 100 meters. But he was in under pressure, and a lot of people crack under pressure, and he went in being the favorite, two losses, and they are losses, and came out winning. And the other lesson that I liked was the in the 1500 meters where you had Nagus and Cole Hooker. So here's the thing: there were two big favorites, or maybe three big favorites to win that 1500-meter race. And when we're talking about techniques, this is very important when you are running the race of your life in whatever capacity that may be. The emphasis was on these two players from, I think, Norway and Great Britain, and they already had their own personal rivalry. And so when the Norwegian was looking at the Brit for running, his competitor, there was a U.S. young runner who came onto the left and overtook both of them, and he ended up getting the gold. The British guy won the silver, and our another U.S. Nagus won the third place. And it was all the strategies that they had. And when you see an opening, when the pressure amounts, you bust that door wide open. And that's exactly what Cole did. So some of the things that you can take from that is that you have to have techniques in place. You cannot wing certain levels of your life. You may have been able to wing success at this level, but if you're trying to go higher, and I'm not talking about just go to the next level, if you're trying to take these quantum leaps, you have to have strategic techniques in place even when you're under pressure. And you can no longer put yourself under pressure. The pressure has to come from the outside. Like I believe you can no longer create pressure for yourself. And that was an example that I saw from Noah. Even if he did create the pressure for himself, like, oh, I don't have to run that fast, I'm just going to show up and do me. He had to get himself back in the game because that wasn't pressure he was expecting, right? So, one thing, the role of a coach is to prepare for high stakes situations. I don't think a lot of us approach our lives like that. I think we just wing it, or we may have certain things in place, but do we really take ourselves to the end, like allowing our body to go through the process of how would you react under this pressure? Like those scenarios that we talked about, those role plays in one of the previous lessons, those are real. And I found myself personally, I tried to never do anything that would I would never do anything that I wouldn't do, ask my clients to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Oh my gosh. pressure tongue twister right there. But I put myself through these scenarios. Like I take my own coaching medicine, my mindset medicine, my advice, and then also from my other coaches as well. So I put myself in a worst case scenario with the situation and allowed myself to go through those emotions and really talk about something painful to deal with. Like how would I really react? Because the situation was coming, and then when the situation came, it still got me a little bit, but I did not crack as if I did not prepare. Like you can't stick your head in the sand for certain situations. Now, I didn't have a coach to talk me through this, but there were other techniques of like my personal leadership that I've learned and used those techniques to coach myself through that process. But first, I had a coach to learn those techniques, and then I used them myself. And then when you get on the other side of that, so even with these Olympic athletes, so what I do love about the Olympics is that they get to have these different semi and qualifying before they get to the finals, and they were able to adjust and make techniques under pressure. Nagus, when he missed his first heat, to and then he barely made it into the semifinals. When he was going to the semifinals, he adjusted something because that was pressure on him, and he won his semifinals. He was like, the strategy that I had before when I'm in these high stakes and I kind of cruise in the back and then I shoot forth in the front. Well, the pressure made him change that, and he lost that. So when it was time for his second race, he adjusted. He looked at what he did before, like, okay, pressure is still going to be here, but what is my new technique to thrive out of this? And he readjusted, and he won his semi. And then that same thing, he didn't revert to what he previously, because sometimes we do that. We get a little success, and then we slide back into what's comfortable. He kept pushing forward and adjusting his technique, and it got him the third place over one of the favorites who did not place. And I'm pretty sure his coaches were back there talking with him and helping to adjust. But while you're in the game yourself, it's a mental game, and you have to go through those scenarios and make those adjustments while you're in the throes of it. So that's why you have to embody these techniques as well, because you don't have time, in the middle of the situation, sometimes to go to a handbook or a playbook or call a coach. You have to empower yourself and trust yourself to make those decisions, you have to put a lot of techniques in your tool bag so that when this situation comes, I can pull this technique out. Or like in mathematics, it may not be an exact formula to solve this problem, but we can combine some different theorems and other formulas together to makeshift something happen so we can get the result that we're looking for, so that we can solve this problem by any means necessary. And so some action steps that you can take is when you're thriving, when you're under pressure and you want to thrive instead of crack, practice stress managed techniques. And yes, it's breathing, it is journaling, but there are some things that you can do in your mental exercise, some things that you can do in your body to make sure that you keep that cortisol down. Now, go consult with an expert in that area so that you can get some actual techniques. But there are some things that you can do. These people who are thriving at these high levels, these mega entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are living these high level lives, they are doing these things just like they're training for an Olympic sport. Their lives are Olympic sports, and they are Olympian level athletes. And I just wonder, if we take on that different mindset mentality, how would our lives be different? Also, develop a pre-performance routine with guidance. Yes, it can be a morning routine and an evening routine, but it's all the way. It's a full on training plan on how you execute situations. When you're in your careers, those of you who've gone into corporate or any type of other professional career, there are plans and things in place for you. You know exactly what you need to do to get to certain levels. You know exactly what happens, for consequences and things like that. Why don't we do that in our own lives or in our own businesses? We have to change our approach and mentality. And then finally, I want you to review high pressure performances outcomes with the coach so you can identify improvements. Let me tell you, if Oprah had 5 to 7 coaches on rotation, why don't you think you could at least get 2 or 3 coaches on rotation? And again, this is not just somebody to give you a coaching program. This goes well beyond a coaching program. This is someone who can literally coach you and help you with your life like an Olympian athlete, so you can reach those high level results and go from good to great to phenomenal. And so I want you to think about those things. And as you're thinking about that, be sure to register for my upcoming virtual expo, From Resume to Reinvention to Remarkable, How to Shift from an Employee Mindset to an Entrepreneurial Way of Thinking with Ease. It is happening August 15th through the 18th, but it is a pre-recorded virtual event. So all you need to do really is to register, and you will be able to partake in those conversations so you can get a game plan. But I would advise you to go into the VIP part, so that way you can actually talk with me in a group of people after the event, or at some point, when I do this again, and that we can have a game plan for you, so that you're not just collecting information and sticking it in your folder or on your digital shelf. You're really getting a game plan ready to execute. So take those notes. Let me know what your favorite highlight is, or is something that you do differently, so that you can thrive in a high stakes environment without cracking under pressure, because you are able to thrive no matter what if you have the right techniques.
Are you making your dash dazzle? You know, that gap between your birthday and your sunset? If not, you're doing a huge disservice to your community, to yourself, and to your family. Hi, I'm Vernita Glenn White, and I want to welcome you to the Virtual Expo, From Resume to Reinvention to Remarkable. This isn't just an event, it is a movement to bankrupt the burial plots. Now, you may be thinking, well, that sounds a bit morbid, or what is that, and how is that even possible? Well, keep listening. I've curated a special group of experts, and together we're going to show you the benefits and importance of being able to shift from an employee mindset to an entrepreneurial way of thinking with ease. Now, your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations are way too big to be contained in a box of your current situation or trapped in the mind. And my guests have figured out the secrets to what it means to truly get out of your own way while you're still living on this planet. They are ready to reveal these secrets to you so you can turn those possibilities into reality and make your dash dazzle. So what inspired me to take on this huge task? Well, before I was born, I learned that my grandfather had an opportunity to purchase some land, and before it turned into a major tourist attraction. He also wanted to start his own barbecue venture. Then later on, my mother had a vision to become a major Christian author and speaker for women and young adults who wanted to understand the Bible in a practical way. But unfortunately, in 2012, both my grandfather and my mother passed away 3 weeks apart, and all those ideas and dreams went into the graveyard with them. Now, every time I visit the site, I see new plots, and I can't help but wonder what inventions, communities, or businesses will never get to experience, because maybe that person thought they had more time, maybe they didn't have the courage to get started, or they lacked the persistence to keep going. Or perhaps they got too comfortable with the success they already had and didn't go for more. We'll never know their reasons, but right now you have a choice, and I don't want you to live with any regrets. So I'm launching this movement to help you step into more courage, persistence, and ways to think bigger. As a former mathematics teacher and college professor, I understand your need for a plan and wanting the step-by-step to get the right answer. So consider this virtual experience as a series of secret formulas only for the people who are ready to embrace their brilliance, explore new possibilities, and expand their minds for bigger goals, and finally achieve the results that will leave an impact on this planet. I felt myself heading this way. Even with all my degrees and accolades, I knew I was hiding behind comfortable success, and the tug to do more was getting harder and harder to ignore. So if that sounds like you, or you want that to be you, in the box next to or underneath this video, there's a place to insert your name, email, and phone number to get access now. When you click Get Access Now, I'll send you an email right away with all the details for this curated virtual expo. Now imagine this, the expo is over and you let out a sigh of relief because you finally heard that one thing that clears some of the messiness in your mind that has been blocking you from the money or the manifestation you needed to catapult you into being the solution to hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people. That's the feeling of being remarkable, and you deserve that to feel like that every single day. Be sure to enter your name, email, and number so I can give you something extra special before the virtual expo begins. It's time to make your dash dazzle, and I'll see you on the other side.